everything doesn't have to be he's my artist or I manage him or he's under me or he's signed to me. No, anybody that I do business with now is my business partner. Doing a label thing after doing an independent thing for so long, to me, it wasn't never about like, I see a lot of people struggle with like, oh, stay independent and do this, or they say, oh, I want to go to a major and get that full backing in that powerhouse. But for me, it's about what makes sense. You know where your career is going. When you're hands-on with your business, I feel like you know what you want to do, what you can do, and where you want to go from there, and how much you want to challenge yourself to elevate to the next level to compete, right? So it's like I went through that stage independently, then I tried to do it with a label that I respected and grew up on and admired and idolized, right? And when it wasn't everything that I thought it was, I felt like I could do things better back independently. It wasn't about, and it was all like, professionally. None of it was like got lashed out. I never lashed out. I never was like super upset. I never lost my emotions, as emotional as I can be with the music and the business. And at that time of me ending my run with the label, I felt like what made the most sense for me was to go back independent and do my run, elsewhere. I kind of let people know you always have to invest into yourself. And there's different ways to invest. Like the way that I invest is very hands-on. Like even if I have a label there and say if they were going to pay for something, even though they didn't pay for anything, I wanted to know who they were paying, what exactly was I paying for, because if I'm with you guys in longevity and we do this again, I want to know if it's worth doing it again, if you guys actually spent it correctly. Then if it doesn't work, I can still yet contact that person that you contacted, that you spent that money on and it worked, and I can hit them up myself because in all, I did great business with them and I actually saw their face, got their contact. These are some of the things that sometimes labels and people within a label, they try to kind of not let happen. They try to give you words like, focus on being an artist or, just be the artist. Well, no, because I'm more of a businessman than I am an artist. As good as I am as an artist, I am as a businessman. So you still kind of have that independent, you got to have that independent edge. I want to be there. I want to be very hands-on. I want to see what's going on because there's too many stories of people playing with budgets. There's too many stories of budgets getting lost in the sauce. Once so much money is spent, nobody's going to keep tabs of something that was $75 or $29, or then it could end up being $2,900. But I want to see it all. I want to clear everything. I don't want anybody clearing any money for me. I don't want anybody acting as of power of attorney for me. I want to do all of that stuff myself. I try to let people know this in the game now. Everything doesn't have to be he's my artist or I manage him or he's under me or he's signed to me. No, anybody that I do business with now is my business partner. I don't, like the way the game and the industry is now, partnerships are key. Everything doesn't have to be, oh, he's under me or no. You guys work out your splits or your agreement or your understanding in advance, and you do that partnership so that if things don't really go well, you guys can part ways. And even if his project or her project is still doing what it's doing, you still get your royalties or publishing or your split going forward. So it doesn't have to be so, oh, this only worked out for a year, but in the second year it didn't, but yet we're signed to each other for 3 years. So even working with a Pacquiao or even my own manager, like we're more business partners as opposed to saying, this is my manager or this is my artist. You want to do numbers organically. You want to, there's so many ways organically to figure out how your numbers can build and how you can market it going into the project and going out of the project. Everything I believe should have about a 3-month plan at minimum. You can extend it as your project's doing well or certain songs may elevate more than the next one. But you should have at least a 3-month plan. 1 month going into the project, 2 going out, and maybe an extra one if you have that momentum building. If it's not going there, then you start to remarket another 3 to 4 month plan into the next project. Just kind of challenging myself. Now keep in mind, like I ended up buying my home and like my dream car in the midst of me being at my worst with being locked down in a label and not being able to make the money that I wanted to make at that time. Now, yes, my money was starting to fluctuate a little lower at that time, but it wasn't dead. So I took what I had. I said, you know what? I want to start managing, artists. I already was kind of had producers behind me. And I started my chauffeur business. I took my Sprinter, customized. I said, I want to get into the transportation business, because at that time I was looking to kind of say, okay, as music is slowing down, I'm gonna start me a business. I'm gonna take the money that I do have, and I'm gonna open a business, and I want to stop renting in my apartment. I had already planned on getting my house. I just needed to build it up with my apartment for a while. Somebody had put me on the game about transportation, and I was like, I want to maybe get a restaurant, open a studio, but they was like, these things, the government or the city, they can change an area. They can buy an area out. They can gentrify it. They can make it go from Caucasians to minorities, or they can make it go from minorities to Caucasians. Raise your rent, lower your rent. Force you to buy. They can do all of these things in your neighborhood. They can put things in your neighborhood that make prices go up, or they can put something in your neighborhood that makes the crime rate go up. They really can control it once you put one business in a set place, right? Which is not bad, because you can still figure out how to market it and do it with whatever is around it. But transportation never loses. Why? Because people will always need to go from A to B. And my job is to make them get from point A to point B in a way that they've never traveled before. That's why I wanted to do the chauffeur business, because no one can touch that. No government, no law, nothing can change how I do transportation, which is why I wanted to get into the transportation game. And it's doing very, very great for me. So it's like, if someone's doing all of that gentrifying stuff, I can move anywhere. I can pick anybody up from anywhere they want to leave from, and I can drop them off anywhere they want to go. And I can be on my way, and I don't have to sit still and allow, the people to kind of direct where I go with my business and how I want to do it and how I want to move it in the crowd of people that I want around my business. That's the best thing about transportation, so that's what I jumped into. One of the main things that hold people back to progression, like progressing in what they want to do, is it's not necessarily, sometimes it could be the people around you or what's around you or who believes you. It's not always that. To me, everybody has a vice. We all have a set of habits that we kind of apply to ourselves on a daily basis, right? And there are ways to, first you have to admit what they are. Then you have to admit, okay, this is what I'm spending on it, or how much time I'm spending on it, or how much it's holding me back. A lot of people, like, if you be like, yo, if I tell you, hey, you're smoking too much, hey, stop smoking, they may respond, man, I can do what I want, or man, it ain't that bad, or it helps me do. Okay, well, every person needs to find out how to channel those vices back into their gift. So that's something that I had tended to do, was looking in the mirror, realizing that, hey, I can take these things. Like when I was growing up, people was like, well, you like to be around women a lot. You love women, that's your vice, because I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't really partake in any other type of habits like that. So I said, okay, cool. I'm going to take my music and I'm going to figure out how to make music about women, from their perspective back to my perspective, and kind of start to allow the women to kind of take into my gift. And if I am going to be around women, if I do spend time, if it's a short time or a long time with that female, I'll turn it into a song or a situation to kind of benefit what I need to do towards my gift, instead of it just being a bad habit or a vice just long gone, And I feel like everybody can do that. Everybody can channel it, whether they're doing music or not. There's so many ways to where you can take your business and benefit the people that can relate to it with the women. And I feel like a lot of, not just women that listen to my music, but a lot of men, I find that women say, oh, I heard your music because my ex played it for me while he had messed up or something like that. And that's the way that I have found out how to turn my vice into a gift. With artists distributing, why it's so important to distribute yourself is kind of the way you can calculate everything from your UPC numbers, your UPC codes, to your ISRC codes, right? And these are the numbers that a lot of artists don't even know. They're not aware of. Once they sign to a label or they go into a deal, they don't register their own music and distribute their own music, which can be fine at one point, but at some point you need to come back to it and have your masters and do your things, because those are the things where now the industry, all of these sites, all of these platforms, they use these codes and they pay you from it. And those are the best ways to distribute your music and make sure your money comes back to your mailbox, right? And I think a lot of artists, they don't even know. They don't know their codes, they don't know their numbers, and they don't know every single site that kind of can channel back. So you sign up to these sites like Sound Royalties, Sound Exchange, Media.net. These sites, or TuneCore, will tell you every time there's a new law and there's a new way to get yourself paid. And sometimes you go, well, nobody told me. Well, now these sites are telling you. You don't really need a human being to physically tell you. Go to these sites. They will email you. They will send posts, because now the sites have set it up to where the law also benefits them. So it's not like they're just doing it to help you, because this is a number game. So, but now it's to the point where the site will only benefit if you know. See, it wasn't like that back in the day. Back in the day, it was to where the people were getting over the people because they were finding out and doing it for you, and they were collecting and giving you what they wanted. But now the site can only get paid as you get paid, because everything is legal. You can't do anything backdoor. You can't behind the scene it anymore. So, keep in touch with your UPC codes and your ISRC numbers, and make sure it all calculates back to you as an artist. This is Sy Ari the Kid, and I'm young and great.